My name is Arthur Higginbotham, and you are listening to The Life of Christ by Reverend John A. This is the fourth chapter, The Birth of Christ, the presentation in the temple, also known as the fourth joyful mystery. Here is Luke's account of the presentation. And when the days of her purification were fulfilled according to the law of Moses, they took him up to Jerusalem to present him to the Lord, as it is written in the law of the Lord, "Every male that opens the womb shall be called holy to the Lord, and to offer a sacrifice according to what is said in the law of the Lord, a pair of turtle doves or 2 young pigeons." According to Hebrew law, a woman after childbirth was considered unclean and must be kept to herself for 40 days if her child was a boy, 80 if it was a girl. Then she was required to present herself in the temple for purification and to make an offering. If the family could afford them, she was to present to the priest at the entrance of the temple a yearling lamb for the holocaust and a young pigeon or turtle dove as a sacrifice for sin. If the family was poor, she could offer 2 doves or 2 pigeons. The priest would make expiations for her, and she would be legally purified. As the Blessed Virgin had conceived of the Holy Spirit and became a mother without any impairment of her virginity, she did not come under the law that touched all the other mothers of Israel. But, like the divine babe who had submitted to the rite of circumcision, though there was no real need for him to do so, Mary submitted to the rite of purification in imitation of the example of her divine Son, and to avoid giving scandal to those unfamiliar with the true circumstances. She offered the gift acceptable from the poor. If the child was a male and the firstborn, then according to the law he belonged to Yahweh, like the firstlings of the flock and the firstfruits of the field. By paying 5 shekels to the temple, the parents could buy him back. Though it was not necessary to bring the child to the temple to present him to God, young mothers customarily did so to invoke upon him the blessings of heaven. Though the divine babe belonged to God by an inalienable right and did not need to be bought back, Joseph followed the example of Jesus and Mary in submitting to the law and paid the 5 shekels. This was about the equivalent of $4, no small sum for a humble carpenter. At this point, Luke tells us of an unexpected development. And behold, there was in Jerusalem a man named Simeon, and this man was just and devout, looking for the consolation of Israel, and the Holy Spirit was upon him. It had been revealed to him by the Holy Spirit that he should not see death before he had seen the Christ of the Lord. And he came by inspiration of the Spirit into the temple. And when his parents brought in the child Jesus to do for him according to the custom of the law, he also received him into his arms, and blessed God, saying, "Now thou dost dismiss thy servant, O Lord, according to thy word, in peace, because my eyes have seen thy salvation, which thou hast prepared before the face of all peoples, a light of revelation to the Gentiles, and a glory for thy people Israel." Who was this man who had made so bold and striking a prophecy? Simeon was not a priest, but a just and devout layman, who was mysteriously moved that day to come to the temple and inspired to proclaim the divine babe as the long-expected Messiah, and, what is even more remarkable, as a light of revelation to the Gentiles. If any of the scribes or Pharisees had been standing there, such a prophecy would have brought from them a strong rebuke. The Gentiles? They would have exclaimed in indignation, "How monstrous to speak of the other peoples, the Goyim, as anything but the humble subjects of Israel! How scandalous to consider the Gentiles as sharing equally with Israel in the fruits of the Messiah's coming!" In fact, they could have cited all the great Pharisaic doctors in support of their protest. Simeon could have cited none of them to uphold him. He could have appealed, however, to the authority of God himself, who, speaking through Isaiah, had declared, "And I have given thee for a covenant of the people, for a light of the Gentiles." And shortly afterwards he had declared through the same prophet, "Behold, I have given thee to be the light of the Gentiles, that thou mayest be my salvation, even to the farthest path of the earth. The all-exclusive nationalism of Israel had caused these words of God to be ignored and forgotten. Hence Simeon's prophecy, in rising above the jealous particularism of the Pharisees, and in evoking anew the solicitude of God for all mankind, would have appeared to the Pharisees as both startling and revolutionary. Like the ancient seers of Israel searching the horizon for some sign of the appearance of the long-expected Messiah, Simeon had both perceived him and pointed him out. Now his task is completed, and he is ready and eager to depart. Then Luke resumes the narrative. And his father and mother were marveling at the things spoken concerning him. And Simeon blessed them, and said to Mary his mother, Behold, this child is destined for the fall and rise of many in Israel, and for a sign that shall be contradicted, and thy own soul a sword shall pierce, that the thoughts of many hearts may be revealed. The Messiah is the light of the world, Simeon indicates, but a light that shall be rejected by Israel, and hence he will be a sign that will be contradicted. Others shall accept that light, and for them he will be a sign to arise and to receive the fruits of the redemption. And the blows that lash out against the Son will strike also the mother, and pierce her very soul. And there was also Anna, continues Luke, a prophetess, daughter of Phanuel, of the tribe of Aser. She was of a great age, having lived with her husband 7 years from her maidenhood, and by herself as a widow to 84 years. She never left the temple, with fastings and prayers worshipping night and day, and coming up at that very hour, she began to give praise to the Lord, and spoke of him to all who were awaiting the redemption of Jerusalem. Thus Luke concludes the story of the presentation of Jesus in the temple, a theme that has kindled the inspiration of the Christian artist for centuries. But it is best told in words, for no painter can imprison upon the canvas the miracle and the mystery of Simeon's prophecy. Only the mysterious power of words can convey such thoughts.